Record. Announcement has been made. All right, hi everybody. Find my lips. Hi everybody. Today is February 15th, 6 o'clock p.m. It's the Downtown Worcester Square Management Team. This meeting's called to order. With that, a couple announcements off the top of the agenda. Our annual elections will begin now. Will happen in the March meeting. And with that, I will be stepping down as chair. I have a new baby coming on April 1st, maybe earlier, TBA. For that reason, I believe that today may be my last meeting. I think the third week in March might be hard to commit to, so I've made the call to just go ahead and say I'm not going to be there. And not have to juggle that out at the last minute. After that, I'm planning on taking 6 months off from work and trying to really spend some time with my family. So I will be around and trying to pop in and out, but we'll be taking a significant step back from the leadership of this group. You'll still see me around the neighborhood, and a lot more if you're wandering around in the middle of the day. Lana is as well stepping off of the e-board. So we have a couple open positions coming up on our executive committee board, whatever you want to call it. So we're looking for people to step up. If you know anybody that's interested, or if yourself is interested, please reach out to me. You can reply to the emails. Downtown Worcester, it's just the initials at gmail.com or ianmdunn@gmail.com. Happy to reach out, happy to put you in touch with people. And we'll figure out a pretty good transition plan there. So for folks who just joined, welcome to the meeting. Couple big announcements. We are looking to renew our leadership positions in the March meeting. We're going to open up for elections then. I'm stepping down as chair and we'll be stepping out of the leadership for a little bit. I haven't yet made a decision on whether or not I'll stay on the e-board in a membership at large role, but if there's other people that would like to step up, I'd be happy to make the space, but otherwise we'll kind of hang out, but really reduce my commitment. Lana, who has done an excellent job as our co-chair, will be stepping down as well. So we have secretary position, co-chair position, chair position, member at large position, and the treasurer role it's a yearly position, but Charlotte has expressed interest in remaining in that position. So that being said, we'll send out a more formal email with like an announcement of all of that and a more clear explanation, but do want to put that out there. I think many people have noticed that we're not running at the capacity we would like to run at. I think a bunch of people are overwhelmed by things, and COVID has made this a lot harder. But we are very interested in fostering new leadership and really figuring out how to support people who would want to step up. So if you have anybody, and if they're not sure if they could do it or want to do it, let us know. We'd be happy to talk to them and encourage them and say, absolutely, you can do it. It's your neighborhood. So, any questions about that before we move on to our normal reports? Seeing none. Lieutenant Bohr.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations on the new baby on the way. That's exciting.
Thank you.
So for the last month, still our major incidents for crime downtown, it's trending downwards. It's been pretty good. Over the last 30 days, we've had 2 aggravated assaults. We made arrests on both of those incidents. We've had 2 burglaries. Oh, lost my computer there. 2 burglaries for the last 30 days. We had 3 car break-ins and 4 stolen motor vehicles. I'm happy to say that we haven't had a burglary downtown or Worcester Square for over 2 weeks now. And the one that we had that broke that trend there, we made an arrest for it. But I wanted to spend most of my time tonight to just highlight two good arrests that downtown officers made. So one is for this burglary. Officer McIver on Tuesday, January 25th at 3:30 in the morning was patrolling downtown when he observed a bicycle on the sidewalk in front of the Wine Thief at 181 Crown Street. This business had been burglarized multiple times previously. So he gets out of the car and further investigates what's going on. As he approaches the bicycle, he sees an individual loading items into a backpack near the bicycle. And when he went to go approach the individual, he can now also hear an audible alarm going off inside of the Wine Thief. As Officer McIver begins to talk to the individual, he recognizes him from previous interactions and being a suspect in previous burglaries that have been occurring downtown. Officer McIver begins to speak with the subject. The subject gets on the bicycle and he begins to flee the area. Officer McIver was able to get into his police cruiser, follow the subject until he was able to get out of the car and make an arrest on him. The owner of the Wine Thief was contacted. It turns out that he did, in fact, break into the shop. He stole about $822 in alcohol that he was stuffing into his backpack. And Officer McIver made an arrest for a burglary in progress with no one getting hurt or anything like that. I just thought that was an excellent job. It's extremely rare. I've been doing this job for 10 years to come across a commercial burglary in progress. And nationwide, for all police departments, we typically only make arrests on about 12% of burglaries in general. The next one, Officer Kelly and Chin, two more downtown officers. This past Saturday, the 12th, they were flagged down for someone in the area of the New Haven Green. The subject was Spanish speaking, but he handed the officers a note saying that he was cut on the face by another subject that was on the green. Long story short, they were able to communicate with him enough and get a Spanish speaking officer to find out that this victim was cut on the face with a knife by another individual who was demanding $2 from the victim. The victim was able to identify the offender to the officers and point them out on the New Haven Green. The officers were able to track him down. The subject still had the knife in his possession, and they were able to make an arrest essentially for a stabbing without any kind of incident. And this happened just this past Saturday. Again, no one got hurt other than the victim, and it was a good arrest, de-escalation arrest with the officers on the scene there. And then other than that, I've still been handing out these car hangers to help reduce the number of stolen vehicles and car break-ins downtown. And Friday, I'm trying out for the hostage negotiation team. We'll see how that goes, if I make it in there or not. But other than that, that's kind of all I have for crime stats for this past 30 days.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Yeah.
Any up? Before I see you, Miriam, before we get over to Miriam, any updates on the bus stop project for the green?
No, so I actually emailed Becky Barnbarrow today. We're still waiting to hear back from engineering. I'm definitely going to bring it back. There's no secrets. As soon as I hear back, I'll bring it back to you guys, and we can have a more open discussion about kind of what the game plan is with that.
Awesome. Appreciate that. Miriam.
Yeah, hello, good evening. Two things. One, it looks like double parking I witnessed a few weeks ago the aftermath of an accident where a CT Transit bus and a car had were apparently, I guess, one clipped the other. I'm guessing it had to do with double park cars, which has been an ongoing problem with, people coming and do Uber Eats or Grubhub or whatever. And there seems to be not enough enforcement of cars double parked in the streets, Crown Street and Temple Street are narrow as is. And I'm guessing the bus may have clipped, and also with snow on the ground, cars that are parked are wider into the street. So I think between double parking, cars parked wider into the street with the snow on the ground, which is another issue, and the bus, there, you know, that didn't end well. And there was an accident. I didn't see the beginning of it, but I saw the aftermath. So that's one thing. Next thing is the club stuff has gotten out of control. These bars and clubs do not hire off-duty, police for a security detail. So the bars close at say 1 o'clock. They spill out the kids, they spill out in the street and they're making loud noise, and the motorcycles and a loud noise. And I call the police for help. And sometimes they come, sometimes they don't come. One time they said, "Oh, we want a phone call." I said, "Sure." They didn't call me till 5 in the morning. They didn't call me until like 4 hours later. Another time I asked them to call, they never called me. Last week, finally, an officer called me. We had a long conversation, but my quality of life is suffering immensely by knowing that each week, Thursday through Saturday, 1 o'clock a.m., there's going to be noise and there's going to be no one that they're doing anything about it. Because you call the police, you get told they're at other crime scenes, they can't come and help you. Why are these bars and clubs allowed to operate all these hours without having a security or police detail? It just makes no sense. I would make it that if you want to be open past 11 o'clock, you need to have a security detail, because it's just the quality of life for the residents is suffering. We can't sleep. We hear again, this is not ambient noise. This is people, in the street partying. This is motorcycles revving. And I just get so frustrated that you call for help and then it may come and may not come. And this happens every week. And then, and the bars just get away with it. Not to mention COVID protocol. I'm not sure. I mean, I see people walking into one of the restaurants without wearing masks on. So I bet if there was some inspection to see people are wearing masks until they're eating or drinking, you'd find some violations there. But, in addition to that too, but it just made my life really hurt the quality of life. I get sick of being told, if you don't like it, go move to Westville or something. It's not right. And there needs to be more to improve the quality of life for us who live downtown with this club noise.
Thanks, Miriam. Would you like to respond to that, Lieutenant?
Yeah. So I hear the frustration and I get that. So every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we do have, it's called bar detail. And we typically only have 4 officers. In a perfect world, it probably really should be 15 officers. We have staffing issues. We do not have enough officers for that. So we get 4. And that's every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to deal with a lot of those issues that you're talking about. Just disorderly, drunk individuals, noisy motorcycles, possible car accidents, all those things. These 4 cops are essentially dealing with. I strongly encourage you to keep calling it in, because a lot of these issues, if we don't have a complainant, there's really only so much that we can do. But it is something that it's not going ignored. We're doing kind of with the 4 officers are out there. They're basically putting a Band-Aid on a sucking chest wound on some of these nights when it's extremely busy downtown. But I get it. Just keep calling in. If it's a specific issue with a particular bar, whether it's face masks and things like that, the health department can follow up with. But rest assured, every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, there's at least 4 officers that are out there monitoring the crowds.
So why does it take hours to call? When I called for help one time, why didn't it also not come back till 5 in the morning? If there's officers in the area, why did it take 4 hours for someone to call me back?
I would have to, I'm not sure of the particular incident, but again, those calls, that goes through dispatch, and then it gets categorized on what the priority is and what units are available. Sometimes bar detail units, they are tied up with a fight, with someone waiting for an ambulance and things of that nature. Again, it's a case-by-case basis. The reality is sometimes a unit might be available within 5 seconds if it's a non-emergency, or sometimes it could take 3 or 4 hours.
Would it be possible for you to, I know your shift off, but would it be possible for you to come one night and see the hell that is there every Thursday night? Would it be possible for you to come see for yourself? I mean, it is just.
Oh yeah, when I first got promoted, I worked bar detail literally every single weekend for probably 2 months. So I'm aware of some of the issues.
And why can't the bars be made to hire their own off-duty police officers? If they want to be open past 11 o'clock, why can't they be told they have to hire people?
Yeah, so they used to, and we would encourage that, but At this point, our staffing is so depleted that we barely have enough. We've been barely holding water with just filling our patrol cars, let alone extra private security gigs. That most of the money that cops are making is going to patrol overtime to handle calls for service, if that makes sense.
So is there gonna be any new police officers coming on the scene who can handle this?
Yeah, the police department is constantly trying to recruit. That's literally a 24/7, 365 job right now. It's not just the New Haven Police Department, it's every police department in the nation. They are begging for applicants to people to come on and do the job.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Lieutenant. Tony?
Yes, hi, Lieutenant. We still got a similar problem with traffic over on Franklin Street at Trace Scalini. Their valet service seems to double up cars so that one and maybe both lanes of the street are blocked. I know I've had several incidents where you try to drive by and you can't get by. It doesn't seem fair to the neighborhood that they get to use the street in that manner. So I just wanted to let you know so that perhaps you can send a car down there, especially on Friday and Saturday nights, you know. And they're still
Like around
dinner time. It's their
Okay.
dinner crowd, I assume. And they're still parking over on the state property at the entrance to the highway. And that's sort of problematic because they come back over the public sidewalk or they come out the exit the wrong way. Yeah, for people entering the highway, that's a serious problem. And it's been happening a long while. And there's another thing in the neighborhood, and I don't know if this fits into your ballpark, but the traffic light at Chapel and Hamilton has been out of order for months. And it's the only light in the neighborhood doing this. It just blinks red all the time. And given the fact that there's a significant population in this city that runs red lights, it's a dangerous situation. I've seen a couple of cars almost collide on account of it. And I was just still wondering if there's anything that the police can do about that. That's it.
Yes, so that's at Chapel and Hamilton.
Correct.
All right, so I'll send an email. That's traffic and parking, but I can find out if there's a reason. I mean, if there's a traffic pattern reason why they have that flashing red. I can't say
Well,
for sure why.
they were doing a lot of electrical work in the area, and a bunch of lights were out, but they seem to have gotten every one of them back functioning except this one particular light. And it's a major traffic area because it leads to Fairhaven and it also leads to the entrance to 91 on Hamilton. So it's heavy traffic, especially at rush hour. So
Okay.
something's gonna happen there sooner or later.
So I'll send an email to traffic parking and find out, you know, what the reasoning is behind that. And for the parking at Trace Scalini, I have an officer that typically works out in Worcester Square, and I will have him follow up with the restaurant to see what we can do with that.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, you got it.
I have a question too. I'm sorry. This is John Levis. I'm on my phone, so I don't know if you can if I can.
Go ahead,
use the
John.
hand signal there that I'm seeing prominently. I just wanted to see if the police department had any plans to be proactively dealing with the drag racing on Water Street and Forbes Avenue corridor. Now this has been ongoing for about, I would say, a year now, maybe a little longer. I guess ever since they closed, maybe there was apparently a drag racing strip near Long Wharf that they put speed bumps on or something like that. But anyway, they were out in full force on Saturday night. I counted about a dozen and a half individual cars just racing up and down, you know, the two streets I mentioned. I called the police early on, the non-emergency emergency number, and nothing happened. Then it was much later, and then they really got going. I mean, they were like they had, you know, the loud mufflers and everything. I mean, it was you're talking deafening loud. Okay, it's not something that is a minor thing. And I had to call the emergency number. Now, luckily, this time when I called 911, the operator was very receptive, and she sent a police officer open, and they started to disperse after that. But this has been an ongoing problem. I'm sure Ellen Cupo, who's on the line, she can probably hear it on Brown Street a lot. And I'm wondering if there's any way that the police could proactively deal with it. Now, I understand you can't chase them for whatever reason. I mean, you know, I accept that. But I'm wondering if there's a way that you could ticket in tow or do a dragnet. In other words, make it very expensive for these folks, a lot of whom come from East Haven, in fact, to come into our city and do this like all night long, uninhibited. And it's really loud. I mean, it's not something that they're just speeding on the road. I mean, they put those fancy mufflers on there. They want to be the loudest guy in town, you know. And we're talking after midnight, you know. Now, luckily, it was on a Saturday night, but sometimes it's during the week even, you know. It's on school nights. They want to come and play, and I'm afraid now with the weather getting warmer that it may even get worse. So I'm wondering if there are any ideas to deal with it. Again, not ad hoc where you have to call in, and sometimes you get a receptive person or not on the line that's going to dispatch the police or not. And sometimes I get pushback, and sometimes they'll even yell at me saying, "Why are you calling us? That's not an emergency." And then I lose my temper, which I don't want to do either. So I'm wondering if there's any way that you could probably deal with that, like again being proactive in some way, ticketing and towing, whatever the case may be, to stop this.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I mean, we want you to call. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for every experience that you calling, but it goes to show that we do need more police. So I'm fully in favor of you calling that kind of stuff in. We do have a crime suppression drag racing detail that happens every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night as well. That starts at 7 o'clock at night and it goes to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, again, good.
Again, this is kind of limited resources. It's a small number of officers, and they're kind of stretched between Long Wharf. It could be Forbes. Water Street's new to me. I can definitely let them know that maybe they're getting pushed over towards Water Street if they don't know about that.
They are. Oh yeah. I can see them from. I'm on Chestnut Street.
Yeah. So I can share that information. Maybe that's all that needs to happen is I let them know that, they're coming to Water Street and they can kind of pay attention over there. But there is enforcement on it. Again, it's an uphill battle for a number of logistical reasons between us not being able to chase them, that a lot of the stuff is only the violation is an infraction. So there's very limited what we can do if the individual decides not to stop for police, but we are out there. And at the very least, as a deterrent, the cops are there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay, well that's good. That's good to know, because, like I said, I really do appreciate when they do send somebody out, because it's not something that's a minor annoyance. Like you see people speeding, for example. I mean, this is loud. This is loud so that you cannot sleep, after midnight. So any efforts you can to combat this, to reduce the scourge, whatever, I'm really in favor of. And I want to emphasize, I don't want to see anybody get hurt or anything like that. I just really want to see it that it's quiet, after midnight,
Yeah, I'll pass the information that they're over on Water Street now, and hopefully that should address it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You got it.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Lieutenant. Tony, and then.
I have one more question for the lieutenant. Is it possible, given the fact that you can't chase these guys, is it possible that you can get their license plate numbers as you approach them, and then send them a summons in the mail or a ticket in the mail, just to get it done on paper?
Yeah, so officers, we do follow up. So if we try and pull them over and they take off on a police officer, we can issue an arrest warrant for that. Where that becomes difficult is that a good, I don't want to say the majority of the time, but probably the majority of the time, these cars are not registered, or the plate that is on the car doesn't belong on that vehicle, if that makes sense. So the person who's driving the car is not the registered owner.
All right. Good point.
So it almost makes it almost impossible to issue an arrest warrant for if that's the case. So sometimes it's difficult to enforce because of that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Anything else for NHPD? Seeing none, thank you so much, Lieutenant. Any other questions come up, feel free to chime in. And in the meantime, Mr. Ham for the CRB report.
All right, so we had kind of a long hiatus over the holidays, but we got back together end of last month, and we have a bunch of subcommittees considering cases, so it feels like we're getting back in the saddle again. The most significant thing that happened the last month was we'd really been overdue to have a meeting with the Corporation Counsel's office. We'd actually never engaged with them, and it turns out we needed to engage with them on a lot of issues. So we finally had a meeting a week ago, lasted about 2 hours, and dealt with a lot of things that were really hampering us and slowing us down. But I'd say the most important one, and the one worth noting here, is that the Civilian Review Board reviews civilian complaints about police misconduct. But it turns out that some of the most significant cases involving police misconduct are not civilian complaints at all. They are cases brought by the chief. And at first, the police, there wasn't a lot of attention to this differential, and the police were letting us go in and review these cases and things like that. But at some point, the corporation councils got involved, and they said, hey, wait a second, this ordinance does not cover these things. You cannot review them. You can't go, can't have access to them, all this kind of stuff. And at first it was kind of a contentious thing, but after the board really looked closely at the ordinance, it nowhere says that we can review misconduct cases other than civilian complaints. So what we're going to do is go back to our full board. This is a subcommittee. Go back to the full board and try to get an amendment to the ordinance, because you can't have a CRB reviewing police misconduct and not review the most important cases. So we're going to do that. I mean, the thing that made it complicated was, Brian Wingate was our Alder representative on the board and also one of the co-authors of the ordinance. And he said it was our intent to include that. But I actually, intent is supposed to be important in these kinds of things. But I actually have a feeling that they didn't understand that, though, until you get into it, you may not just understand that that's really how it works, that it's really the chief thing. So anyway, we're going to go back on that. We have a bunch of other things we have to straighten out, just basic procedures and things. And we haven't been doing a very good job of complying with the Open Meetings and FOIA Acts. Not intentional, not malicious, just I could say, like ignorance, so we're going to do better.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you so much. Any questions there? In the meantime, would it be helpful for civilian complaints to exist for those chief recommended complaints?
That is a very interesting idea, because any civilian can make a complaint. They don't have to be a witness or the arrestee. So it's quite possible that until we get this sorted out I hadn't thought of this. You're a slick thinker there, buddy. We could check with the Corporation Council and see if that would work. And if we see that there's a witness or an arrestee, we can approach them and say, why don't you file a civilian complaint? And then we're into it. So
yeah. Awesome. I mean, just anything that meets the intent seems to be let's press and then figure out the language afterwards before we
Yeah.
get stuck in the morass of language forever.
Yeah, I mean, because you know that an amendment to the ordinance, and then there are a couple of other, who knows, could take months. So yeah,
Yep.
it's worth exploring. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you need any help there, I probably shouldn't offer any because it's not working. Yeah, any slick ideas? You got me for like 30 seconds.
Okay, very good.
All right. Any no other questions for Mr. Ham? All right. Seeing none, let's hear what's going on in LCI. Mr. Natalino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. So highlights of the past 30 days. I know there was some couple of snowstorms, and I know that there were some residents that were probably concerned about some snow removal. So I was collaborating with some of the public space inspectors to make sure that some of the properties that I noticed didn't have any snow shoveled, we were able to address some of the issues throughout the district. So I will continue to do that. And, I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that we don't get any more big snowstorms. But also in regards to the public space, I had to leave a significant amount of door knockers and referrals to public works inspectors for trash and recycling bins left on the sidewalk well after 24 hours of pickup day. Especially an outbreak on Line Street lately. So between snow removal, there was a couple of properties and trash bins. And I was very busy with C-Click Fix this month in regards to those matters. But yeah, and it wasn't just there. I was busy in regards to these matters on some of the side streets off of State, Orange Street, and other areas of Worcester Square, and a couple in downtown, like the Chapel Crown area. But I followed up, and me and the new public space inspectors have been really good. So we will continue to keep that on our radar. I had to send out a couple of letters for a couple of properties that were in blighted conditions. I will follow up on those. But a couple other highlights. I was looking at an old C-Click Fix case that I referred to a private property issue. It's a lot on the corner of Chapel and Franklin. The parking authority owned it, and it was a tree issue. And I was able to make right contacts over there, and they came out within a week, and they were able to cut back all the limbs and trees that some of the residents over there were concerned about. They did a really good job. So that's a closed case, and I just wanted to give an update on that. Wallace and Walnut, there was a couple of bulk trash and illegal dumping issues on that strip in the middle of the month. I was able to reach out to management for most of the properties, and they were able to address those issues. What else here? Yeah, so like I said, the door knockers and referrals with the bins and the snow removal was a significant amount of my work throughout the past 30 days. Also on St. John Street, where Wallace and Hamilton meet, last week, Public Works was able to pick up off a C-Click Fix case that I reported. There was a significant amount of tires, and it wasn't just regular car tires. We're talking like tractor trailer tires ripped up. There was probably about 35 or 40 of them. So I referred that over for Public Works to pick up because it was out of control. It was a complete eyesore. So the trick is to just try and monitor these sites, make sure that that they're monitored, no more illegal dumping is attracted to it. So kudos to the Public Works crews this month with that. What else here? Oh, so again, Grand Avenue graffiti continues to be a hot topic. I was able to address a lot of issues again, so I will continue to stay on top of that. And lastly, I know that the underpass of Grand Avenue was tagged. So I was, the contact I made with the state, unfortunately, that gentleman retired, so I was able to make contact for the new employer. So he actually said he's gonna be taking care of that this week, towards the end of the week. So I just think it's ironic. It's like that always gets tagged, but it seems like Chapel Street is just very lucky lately, but cross your fingers. And I know I got a call yesterday and today. There's a complaint I'm following up on in regards to near Chestnut and Franklin about a noise. So I'm on the ground doing a process of elimination to figure out where that noise the past couple of weeks is coming from. So if anybody had concerns about that, I know I came onto the meeting a couple minutes late. I am following up on that. So, but other than that, that's all I have. And I am here for any questions.
I see-
Arthur, this is John Levis again. Thank you for dealing with that noise issue. I'm wondering if it is something on the U-Haul property.
Yeah, so I made contact. I'm going to be meeting with the general manager this week. And like I said, I just wanted to see where we could find the source. And I will do a process elimination, especially, I know that's just not that building. I have another building next door, but I'm going to do some further research and try to see where the source of that noise is coming. So I
Okay,
will
thank you.
follow up.
Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome.
Thank you.
On the noise, what is the noise?
It's like a low pitch. It's not like a siren. Like I said, it's like a low pitch. It's
No, it's
ki-
like
it
an
kinda sound-
even alarm sound, that
Yeah, it's like a low pitch
nonstop.
alarm sound, and like I said, if I could just make a courtesy call to see if they could address it, that's fine. You could hear it in certain areas, but like I said, it depends on what time of the day too. Because I know there's traffic on the highway between 8 and 9 that's pretty noisy. So I'm gonna see what I can do to try and just make a courtesy call to try and eliminate it. That's all.
I have a couple suggestions for you. The Metro building fire alarm goes off sometimes and has a weird drone like that. But also, depending on the way the wind catches, the gate at the Metro North maintenance depot, when trucks go in and out of there, it makes a really weird noise. I've heard this, and I think it's the gate at the Metro North building.
Yeah, it seems like this has been on nonstop for like a while now. So,
It's been a consistent noise?
It's
Yeah,
nonstop.
it's
It's
like I said, it's
nonstop.
very
It's all
difficult.
night.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very difficult to hear at certain times, but like I said, I'm gonna see what I can do in my capacity to try and figure it out. Okay.
Fabulous. I love a good noise at night, so let me know if you need my help.
It was categorized as private property issue on C-Click Fix. So I'm just seeing what I can do in my capacity.
Perfect. I know my late night walks. Tony.
Yes, Arthur, hi. I saw you out there this morning doing the job, listening for the sound. Thank you. But we have another problem, an ongoing problem, and John, who just spoke, is also going to be chiming in about this. And it's the old Chestnut, 112 Worcester Street. This is a project that has apparently been going on for close to 7 years. And it's just a renovation of an existing building of 4 units and an addition of 2 other units. And this has been going on. I would say the construction end of it was started 2 years after they showed up. So that's 4 years before COVID. So I don't give them any credit for saying they can't do anything because of COVID, because down the street, they just built 400 units in a year. So that's not an excuse anymore. They just can't get the project done. Apparently the son who's in charge of this doesn't have the competence enough to get the project done. The project should have only taken a year. It's only 6 units, and it's just gone on and on now.
Is this the one where I reached out in regards to the grounds not being maintained?
Correct. It's the
All
old
right.
Yes.
Independent
All
Club.
right, have the grounds been maintained better since then?
They filled up the dumpster and then they threw out more, they threw more stuff on the ground. Actually, it got cleaned up the other day when the Sage Art Condo Association had to redirect some drainage pipes off of the roof. And those guys who were working for Sage Arts did a cleaning job in order to work where they had to, and now it looks a little bit better, but it's still covered with construction material. It's got a full dumpster in there that hasn't been dumped. The parking lot is still raw dirt.
There's a large cherry picker on the property that, you know, and they park a lot of private vehicles there too. And, you know, it's been a mess. I mean, I'm president of the condo board here at 43 Chestnut Street. So our property directly abuts 112 Worcester. And they basically tried to blame us for, you know, water leaking into their basement and things like that. Well, I've been here before they bought the property. There was never a problem with water. They've now covered their main drainage ditch there. Okay, we're redirecting our water into downspouts and then going underground because we've had some little bit of leakage on our own property. Now, if it indirectly helps them, that's fine as well. But I'm wondering why they can't finish this darn job. Now,
right,
now the
well,
sun
I
has had. Go ahead.
No, I think it's safe to say that we have to be careful in regards to civil matters, but I could follow up and do some research and see what I could do to try and be as help as much as I can. So I could definitely follow up.
Okay.
I know the individuals, so yeah, let's talk more about
Sorry,
this.
Arthur, did you
yes.
say you know the individual?
You said this was the
112.
individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the individuals with that property in regards to it was a bunch of debris. I think.
Yeah. But now
Yeah,
this is about their not getting the construction done.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well,
Not
let
about
me,
debris anymore.
I would like to do some research and see what I can find, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I'll write this down.
Now, listen, I've gone through this even with the mayor about trying to get that place cleaned up. And apparently, you know, this is a rich guy, big at Yale. And this is a family project apparently for one of
Their son.
younger son who doesn't seem to be able to get things done. And it seems to me that the city is giving him preferential treatment. They're not demanding that this project be finished. I mean, it's only a project that should have taken a year, and it's 7 years later. You know, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why do we have to suffer looking at all this debris all the time and construction material? They haven't even finished the outside of the building. So who do we complain to? How do we get this thing managed?
All right. Well, like I said, gentlemen, let me do some further research and I will follow up.
All right. Thank you, Arthur.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony and John, for that.
And Miriam had a question, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was an ongoing issue, snow removal at bus stops. Last year, there were the alders had a hearing, and it was said at the hearing that private property owners are responsible for clearing bus stops on their property. Most don't know that. This past snowstorm, I snapped a lot of photos for See-Click Fix of unshoveled snow bus stops downtown. That when I did it, the town green did serve it. They went and shoveled it. But I snapped pictures throughout from downtown to, where it was near Yale to, to Westville, you name it. I snapped. And then when I spoke to Public Works, the lady on the phone admitted to me that she doesn't, she doesn't do anything with those bus stops because she doesn't know who's in charge of them. So basically, the See-Click Fixes for bus stops that were not down, like really downtown, were just not, those See-Click Fixes were never acknowledged, and the snow just eventually melted, but they were not shoveled out.
Well, I think, so obviously when we put snow related, I think, well, maybe you could give me the targeted issue locations, and maybe I could do the research to see who is the appropriate jurisdictional authority for maintenance.
Well, also every See-Click Fix I put on about bus stops, I put like a bunch of them on, So they're
Okay.
not just downtowns. I take the bus everywhere. I'm in Westville, like I was by,
Well, I think
yeah,
we have to figure out how to reassign it to the appropriate party. So if it's more than one, and like you
yes.
said, you said there was certain downtown ambassadors that did take care of it, but then
Yeah,
they
but I
didn't
don't
take
think
care of certain ones.
they took care of some of them, but like there was one, I think then by Yale property not shoveled. There was one on Fountain Street in Westville not shoveled. Like, so most of them are not, I mean, a lot of them are not shoveled, and
All right, well, I would definitely like to have targeted areas of our district so I could bring it up with the appropriate people after doing some further research, especially going in, because we're still in the middle of February. Like I said, not to jinx, cross your fingers, but
right.
it's better to be proactive to keep it on the radar for possible future snowstorms. So, I mean, if you want to email me specific locations just to keep on the radar to bring, and I could do some research to figure out if it's traffic and parking, public works, ambassadors, I could try to figure out who is the right party that is responsible for maintaining that.
Okay.
Is that okay? I can put my email in the chat if that's
Right.
okay.
And if you could help, you could forward the ones that aren't your district, like to the people who, what is their.
Well, yeah, we have 9 neighborhood specialists citywide. And, there's the city website. That's another thing. The City of New Haven website, about 2 years ago, they updated it. It's very user friendly. So I highly recommend doing research in regards to contacts. It's very, very good. So I highly recommend that residents and everybody continue to use it, especially also C-Click Fix. But I'm going to type my email in the chat here. And if you want to just give me corner of this and that, or if you have, the exact address, I would happy to, maybe like take a picture, bus stop and say, hey, who will be responsible for this one, that
Right.
one. So that would really be a help, especially now that, I mean, I know the next couple of days it says it's going to be warm, but you never know with this weather.
Okay.
So if you could send me the locations, that would really be great.
Thanks.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you both. And on that, if you have a shovel and you're able-bodied and you see something that needs dug out, dig it out. It's a good thing to do for your city. We all could pitch in a little bit here. Moving on. Any other questions for LCI? I think we do need to move on. All right. Thank you so much, Arthur.
You're
And
welcome.
Thank you for everybody who are bringing up these issues and using C-Click Fix. Sorry for your email inbox, but it is good to see people engaging in that. Kathleen Krolak did message me. She had to step out to another meeting, so the quick updates there are, Alder Saban's going to give us an update on 78 Olive Street in a moment. The inclusionary zoning ordinance goes into effect on Friday. You may have seen some stuff in the paper about it needing to go back to the Board of Alders for an amendment. That'll trickle through the process over the next several months. The Wallace Street Adult Cabaret, which we talked about a bunch in the last meeting, and then I know many people showed up to the BZA hearing, went over to City Plan for review, and is coming back to the BZA, and that is all the updates there. I cannot answer questions for them though, but Tony.
Yeah, I've got something, I don't know if this is the right time to bring it up, but there is a committee meeting of the City Services and Environmental Policy Committee. And the subject of it is going to be the impact of gas leaf blowers in the city, which is really a bane where I live on Chestnut Street, because I have U-Haul across the street with three of those things going at one time, blowing everything up into the air to clean their parking lot. And then the landscape service people on both sides of me show up with blowers and do the same thing in the street. And the health impact on this can be extreme. for certain individuals with asthma and things like that. But even for the general population, the rise of particulate matter of a toxic nature is a concern. So anyways, there's a Zoom meeting and it's on March 3rd. And I will try to get the link to Ian and he can get it out to the rest of the community. But it's going to be a rather good meeting for the health concern of our community. So I thought I'd just throw that in. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, we'll forward on that information. All right, so next up we'll have our aldermanic reports. I do not see Alder Rodriguez in the room. Is Alder Rodriguez here? I don't think so. Alder Saban.
Hey everyone, thanks Ian, and thank you for your service to this community management team and organization for the last year. It's been very valuable, and we'll be sorry to see you go. And Lana as well. I've got a few updates. First, I just wanted to put a few links in the chat. The Board of Education just announced their proposed budget for the year. So you can read more about that, as always, in the New Haven Independent. There are, as Ian just mentioned, the inclusionary zoning ordinance, which we passed a couple weeks ago, and which will require affordable housing to be included in all new developments in the downtown and surrounding neighborhoods. We need to make some amendments to it to make sure that the rents that are charged to lower income folks who rent those affordable units are actually affordable. So we are going to be working on those amendments in the legislation committee. And then on the full board over the next month or two, and to make sure that we are holding landlords and developers accountable, and so that they are, charging actually affordable rents to the people who need them. Speaking of that, on Monday, I'm going to be hosting another community meeting to talk about the 78 Olive Street project, which I know, there's been a bunch of conversations about so far, but we're going to have another meeting on Monday at 7 p.m. I'm going to put the information in the chat right now, and it will also be in my newsletter. I think I'm going to send out something later tonight, actually, or maybe tomorrow morning, also with this information. And at the meeting, we're going to be talking about the sort of options that we have before us as a community and as a neighborhood, and about next steps. The zoning change that is the main part of this development proposal at the moment is scheduled to go before the legislation committee of the Board of Alders on Tuesday, March 1st at 6 p.m. So there will be more opportunities for community input and feedback. And then even after that legislation committee meeting, if the zoning change does end up passing the full Board of Alders, there will also be more community meetings, I think definitely with the CMT and with the development committee of the CMT to talk about site plan applications and to work through any details that we need to provide more feedback about to the developers. So there's that. And then I also just wanted to provide some other updates. You may have seen that the city announced last week that 650 vaccinations that were given out between December 23rd and February 7th had been stored in the freezer for too long. Those were vaccinations that were given out at 54 Meadow Street. So if you or somebody you know got a vaccine during that time from at 54 Meadow Street, you should go get another shot because they think that those vaccinations probably weren't as effective as they would have otherwise been. So just to note that. And then also in more positive news, the St. Patrick's Day Parade is coming back after a 2-year hiatus. It's going to be on Sunday, March 13th at 1:30. And as always, we'll be, snaking through our part of the city, and very excited about that. It'll be good to make sure you get your vaccines before we all get out in the street to celebrate. And it'll be good to see everybody back out for St. Patrick's Day, since we haven't been able to do it in so long. I also just wanted to, I think we on the Board of Alders got our committee assignments after our last CMT meeting. So just want to update we have a number of committees on the Board of Alders that meet monthly to discuss various different issues and pieces of legislation going on in city government. And I was put on the Health and Human Services Committee, the Legislation Committee, and I am chairing the Education Committee for the next 2 years, which I'm very excited about. And also just wanted to add one note about that, which is on Wednesday, March 9th at 6:30 p.m. The Education Committee is going to be hosting a community forum and discussion with the school district about our strategic plan and talking about what we want our school system, the vision for our school system over the next several years. So it's going to be at in the cafeteria at Hill House, and would love to have any and all of you out to talk about our schools and our, how we can support our kids and families and teachers and improve our schools. So I'm excited about that. Would love to have you to come out, and we'll also, I think, send a survey out if you can't make it, if you want to offer your input. One other update is about Downtown Crossing. There are going to be closures this weekend and next weekend at the intersection, and until starting soon and until June 2023, South Service Drive will be two-way, one lane outbound and one lane inbound. So, it's exciting to see that project moving, and hopefully all the effort and resources that went into making that connection between the Hill and downtown real will pay off soon. So excited about that. And then my last note is a couple weeks ago, the mayor announced several new appointments at City Hall. Laura Brown will be taking over as the director of the city plan department. She I think lives in Westville and has a lot of experience with city planning and education around land use policy. Wilda Bermudez is going to be the new director of the Fair Rent Commission, which I think is very exciting. She has been an organizer and activist and city council member in Hartford, and I think is going to bring some tenacity to the Fair Rent Commission, which will be very good to see. Wendella Alt-Batty will be the new labor relations director, and then Barbara Montalvo is the new city's new liaison to the Board of Alders. So excited to work with all those new folks, and glad to see a good team at City Hall. So that's all I've got for tonight. Happy to answer any questions, and I will pass it off to my colleagues.
Thank you, Alder Sabin. Any questions for Alder Sabin? Seeing none. Alder Kupo. And Alder Guzman after that.
I feel like I went first last time. Can I defer to my colleague from the first ward?
You certainly can.
Great.
Alder Guzman.
Great. Thanks everyone for taking the time to be here. I just have a few quick updates that I think will be helpful. So regarding some of the COVID masks and test kits that each ward in the city received, I managed to get all those out to folks. I think all of them to folks living in the surrounding apartments, like the Eli, and a few others in the Union, and a few other buildings, as well as the masks, N95 masks. I think about 3/4 of those masks went out to residents, and then the rest went out to businesses. There's a new COVID test site provider on the green that's helping run the green, and I think the Long Wharf site as well. It's called Saliva Direct. It's a partnership with the Yale School of Public Health. And those times are, I'm pretty sure, the same: Monday, Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m., and then on the weekends as well. And then if you have any concerns regarding appointments, results, etc., you can bring them up to this email that I'll put in the chat. It's pretty easy: covidresults@yale.edu. To echo Alder Sabin's note about committees, I also got my committees. I'm serving on the Community Development Committee. I'm serving on Aldermanic Affairs and Health and Human Services. I think one thing I guess I should probably highlight that's probably pertinent to a lot of folks in the city is that at some point, a hearing will occur in the Aldermanic Affairs Committee regarding the reappointment, of John Alston, the fire chief. So if anyone has any thoughts or, any opinions regarding that, it'd be great to hear those. I also was appointed to the Cultural Affairs Commission over at the beginning of term. And so they're hosting a few events. First, the Unapologetically Radical conference, which I think will be great. A lot of folks in the community that have been active in a lot of different spaces will be out there and sort of have a conference about that, about some of the work they've been doing, some of the work that we have to continue doing. So I'll share a link in the chat as well after I'm done with this. The Department of Culture and the city of New Haven also released their cultural equity plan. So if you have any people working in nonprofits or other cultural organizations, it'd be great if you could point them out to that plan, which again, I'll put in the chat. And then finally, one last thing, I've been walking and biking around Ward 1 specifically to sort of report issues on SeeClickFix. So I'll second, the note to download SeeClickFix and use that. There was a huge pothole on the intersection of Broadway, Elm and York that I managed to get the attention of Public Works through SeeClickFix, and they got that filled. So a huge shout out to Public Works for that. What else? There's been some trash bags on some pedestrian signals on the intersection of York, Elm and Chapel Street. And that's been due to some delays in parts. And thanks to Alder Saban for his support with that, since that's been a problem for a bit. But yeah, we've brought that concern up to transportation, traffic, and parking, and parts have arrived and should be installed within the next 2 weeks, as I've heard. And yeah, if anyone sees anything, even if you're not in Ward 1, I think it's important that we all play a part in helping keep downtown looking nice and getting, at least bringing up these issues so folks at the city can take a look at them. And as always, if there's any concerns that you have regarding anything happening at the city wide level, Health and Human Services and pretty much all my committees have not met yet. So there's not, and we're probably hosting a few workshops just to get an idea of some of the priorities we want to focus on within these committees. But after that, sort of that works starts, and a lot of important agenda items, important developments will come through the board and come through those committees. So as always, feel free to reach out with anything. And again, I'll put all that sort of links and information in the chat right now. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Alder. Ellen, do you want to chime in at all? Oh, sorry. Thank you. Anstrus. Hold for unmuting. Miriam.
When's the open forum part? I mean, I don't want to admit it comes at yet or not yet.
Shortly. I just want to hear a report from Yale and then.
Okay, so I'll wait. I'll defer.
Thanks. Okay, I see hands down. Alder Cooper, anything there?
Really quick, thank you to both of my colleagues for being so incredibly thorough. To leave you with just, I've been appointed as the vice chair of legislation for this term. And I also serve on the community development committee. I apologize for wincing on camera. I'm 8 months pregnant and like really uncomfortable. So despite Hunter's currently cleaning a bowl of popcorn that he dumped water in, so we're having a really great time over here at 20 Brown Street. Separately, I want to thank folks who participated in the BZA hearing about 203 Wallace Street. We had a really excellent showing of neighbors. We had over 42 letters in opposition that were sent to city plan, to the Board of Zoning Appeals in opposition of the project. I think folks gave really compelling testimony that night, but unfortunately, we're not done yet. So I think, as the chair mentioned earlier, tomorrow it'll go before the City Plan Commission, just as a BZA referral, meaning that there's no opportunity for public comment at that meeting. But it'll go back to the Board of Zoning Appeals in March, and at that meeting, we will get a decision. So I will remind folks via my newsletter about that meeting. I'll encourage you as well to come to the meeting that Alder Saban is hosting on Monday about 78 Olive Street. And I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions there? Follow up? Seeing none. Karen King.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen King. I am the Community Affairs Liaison for the Yale Office of New Haven Affairs at Yale University. I have a few announcements about events and resources that, and I will put all these links in the chat. The first is Yale China. The Yale China Association is hosting LunarFest activities throughout the balance of the month. I'll put a link with the schedule in the chat. One item I'd like to highlight is a workshop on February 24th at 6:30 titled Healing the Whole Family. It's based around a graphic novel around to discuss intergenerational trauma and mental health in the Asian American Pacific Islander in one particular family in this graphic novel, but it's a great chance for you all to participate, learn, and share. There is a women's empowerment workshop that is coming up on Monday, the 21st. It's geared for young women between the ages of 12 and 22. It will focus on the importance of community service, education, and workforce development. That's hosted by Yale affinity groups. It is virtual. I'll put the link in the chat. And near the end of Black History Month, the Yale African American Affinity Group is hosting an Afro-Peruvian family dance class, which should be a lot of fun. That's Friday, February 25th from 4 to 5 p.m. I will put a link, as I usually do, with for the Yale COVID-19 website, which provides daily updates for our COVID numbers, as well as information and resources for you to check out. And I'll put my email address and cell phone number in the chat as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Yale? Or Ms. King?
Hi, Karen.
Hello.
Karen, can you say what day that Peruvian dance event is again?
Yes, it's Friday, February 25th from 4 to 5 p.m. virtual.
Oh, okay.
I'll put the link in.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Miriam Grossman, and then if you want to take us right into open forum, you're welcome to.
What about Yale? I know they had to scale back they had to tighten up their COVID restrictions on Omicron. Like when can non-Yale people like go to athletic events again? Like when is Yale gonna be more open to the community if the community is vaccinated and boosted?
I'll find the link for the athletic events in particular. I think the restrictions are youth under the age of 11, but there are a number of public athletic events that people can take advantage of. So I'll put the link with further details for Yale Athletics so that you can check that out. There are quite a number. Go ahead.
Okay. Last I checked, only under Yale students could go to, like, if you want to go to gymnastics, only Yale students could go, not even like regular other people. Yale undergraduates allowed back 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and like regular people can't even come.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't have the complete details. I'll look into it. If you're not allowed, I wouldn't be surprised, because Yale is while we're slowly opening up campus for in-person events for students, we're still being just cautious and not allowing visitors en masse in general to come on campus. I'm sure those will be lifting as Omicron continues to wane.
Thanks for that. I did, in good news there, I did see an email from the Yale rep and talked to the folks over there, and the Yale rep is now open for the community. So if you haven't, not just the Yale community, there's only 6 performances left of the new show. If you want to go see it, check it out.
Thanks for adding that.
And you want me to talk on the open forum?
Go ahead, Miriam, take us in. Thank you so much, Karen King.
And thank you for your service with the e-board and running the group. I really appreciate it. I know you worked very hard. I guess my issue with COVID, I'm happy with the Yale Saliva Direct. I've gone there multiple times. Although it is very hard to spit in the tube, I find the results come timely. There's no line anymore. So I'm really pleased about that. I just have several worries. I worry for the next variant that comes along, that I worry that I don't want what happened in December to happen again, where you can't get a test if you're not part of Yale Health, where you can't get a test at Yale, New Haven, you can't get a test on the green. Like, I just worry, for the next variant, I want to make sure we're able to ramp up so that, what happened in December doesn't happen again, and that testing can be quickly scaled up. Also, I know cases are going down, but I still fear, like, when you get COVID, like in New York City, for example, where my parents live, you can, if you're high risk, you can call New York City and get Pavloxin delivered. Like, if I get sick with COVID and I'm not in the hospital, what's my recourse? Like, I mean, Yale, New Haven, back when they were still using monoclonal antibodies, said if you're unvaccinated, get the priority. New York City has track and trace hotels where, like, you can actually get a hotel to isolate in. So, like, if I get COVID and I'm in New Haven, what do I do? Like, I live alone. Who do I call for help to help me get groceries or pick up my garbage or do my laundry, things that require leaving the apartment or getting medicine if I don't need the hospital. So I just really would love to, I know when things quiet down with COVID, I think it's easy to say, okay, we're past it, we don't need to worry about it. But I really would love to have these things squared away. So if, I get COVID and I need to do something, I have what to do. And for the next surge, I'm not going to be, very, panicked like I was last time, and I happened to, not be feeling well, not with COVID, but like, I just, it was so hard to get a test. It was just a very scary time. And I just would rather have the infrastructure in place. I know if I get sick, I know what to do. And having the vaccines that were stored improperly were scary too, because yes, they may not, they're poisoned, but like, if they get less effective vaccine, that's 650 people who may have been less protected than they thought. And they're going to work, school, traveling, they're interacting with people. If they're less protected than they think they are, that could pose a community risk. And non-COVID related, I know it's a state issue, but it affects people in the community. The CT Transit kiosk, there's a shortage of 10 ride local bus tickets because the supplier has not been able to get them the tickets. So people who take the bus in the New Haven area and throughout cannot get those passes. So they end up paying more money for passes that are not as good for their needs, or paying cash fares. So that's been another issue that's affecting people. I know it's a state issue, but I wanted to alert the local aldermanic team because they can be made aware of this issue. But that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Miriam. Anybody else that has open forum stuff? Linda, I see you. Linda Reeder from Lion Street, and then Robert. Lion, did I get that right?
Yep. Thank
Yes.
you. So I have a concern about zoning regulations. There was a change passed within the past 2 years, I'm not sure exactly when, which reduced the rear yard setback for RM2 adjacent to business spaces from 25 feet to 10 feet. And that change, as far as I can tell, is throughout the city. And that means that for example, in the Worcester Square area, the new construction on Olive Street, 70 feet tall buildings could be built within, a similar type of project could be built within 10 feet of the property line of a 2-family house, which seems wrong. And I'm not sure why that change was made exactly, but I'm wondering 2 things. One, if we can invite Laura Brown to a future meeting so we can learn some things about what she's going to be working on, and also share any concerns we have. And also, if anyone has any suggestions for how we could, if I wanted to try to change that zoning regulation, what steps might I take?
Those are good questions. Are any of our elected officials able to, or I see Kevin McCarthy too, so.
I think having Laura Brown come to a future meeting is a really good idea. I think, as we all know, city planning and development and land use policy and housing policy are some of the, we got a little friend. Sorry, I'm seeing waves. Housing and zoning policy is some of the most important stuff that we deal with in city government and that affects all of us in our neighborhoods. So it would be great to hear from Laura about her vision and what she's hoping to work on. So I think that's a great idea. And that would be a good opportunity, I think, to ask her about that, the specific issue that you're referring to and how it's impacting our community.
Thanks, Alder Sabin. Yeah, so just for folks who, the whole backstory here is tonight was supposed to be the visit from Aisha Woods before the announcement was made about the new appointment of Laura Brown. So Aisha, on her way out, did not come tonight, but the request I think has been forwarded on to Laura Brown, and we'll figure out. Well, I'll leave it to the next set of leaders to figure out how that gets scheduled. A scary thing to say. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, I'd be
There you
happy
go,
to talk. I don't know whether that change actually happened, but I'd be happy to talk with, is it Miss Reader?
Yes. Actually, I think Kevin and Linda, you guys should exchange emails.
Yeah,
This is a great
yeah,
idea.
I think that would probably be the easiest thing. I could put my email in the chat.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Linda, I think Kevin is very active in the East Rock management team, but also a wealth of knowledge when it comes to all sorts of regulations like this. Robert.
Hey, how are y'all doing? I had a question. It's a minor thing. I noticed that the arch on Worcester, that one of the red light bulbs is completely out. It's been out for I want to say at least 4 months. And I didn't know if this is a place to bring that up, just because it's always to me an eyesore when only some of the bulbs are lit, because it looks so nice when it's all done up.
Yes, you're not the only one to notice it. And I will turn it over to Alder Cupo.
Cool. Hi, Robert. So this has been an ongoing issue, and in fact, I'm sure you've noticed as well, the green lamps that light Worcester Street all the way up past Warren to Olive have also been out. It is very much on my radar. I've been in communication with Director Pescasolido from Public Works weekly about the issue. There's some mechanical problem that is both causing the red lighting to be out as well as other lights further down the street. And my updates with him have been, what have you found? And I think that they're having issues either with getting light bulbs or working something out actually within the things getting worked out actually in the electric lines. Is that a word? My brain is wrong. I don't know. I'm sorry. Pregnancy brain is very real. But anyway, it is on my mind. It is on my to-do list every week. I follow up with Jeff, and I'm sorry about it. I know it is an eyesore, and it's really lovely when we're actually able to see the entire arch lit up in that beautiful red, white, and green. So thank you for bringing it up. I'm working on it.
Awesome, thank you. And then something else, also very minor. I'm trying to think of if there's another way for you guys to promote this team, because I feel like I wouldn't have known about it unless I work for the city. So Michael Gormley was like, hey, now that I'm a homeowner here, why don't I go to the meeting? And I didn't even hear about it, and I work for the city. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have heard about it. And I know I joined a couple meetings last year, and I think that was just because he referred me to somebody, and one of the police officers who came to the meeting gave me the invite, but I didn't realize there was a Facebook group until recently. I said, oh, wait, I never saw the meetings anymore. I was like, where are the meetings? I couldn't remember what day of the month it was. And luckily, sorry about my dog. Yeah, so I was just thinking about that because I didn't realize, was it always Worcester, like downtown Worcester combined, or was there, or am I just crazy and it was always downtown and Worcester together?
I can't vouch for your sanity, but I will say that it's always been the same.
Oh yeah, I don't know why. I
Group.
thought it was just Worcester. I don't know why. When I went to like 2 meetings last year, and then like I said, every month I go, oh no, I missed the meeting. I don't know when it is. And then I should have just emailed. I was planning on emailing, and then I just said, oh. And finally, I looked up on Facebook. I said maybe there's there's that, and then I found it. And I said, oh, okay, now I'm going to come every month. So yeah.
Awesome. Oh, we're so happy that you're coming, and tell your friends. All right. So yes, more people need to come. Karen Kane.
Hi, thanks to Miriam for the question. Athletics updated their visitor policy. So fans can attend events as of this past Friday. If it's an indoor event and you have to show proof of vaccination, bring a valid ID, and of course wear a mask. And then youth between the ages of 5 to 11 have to provide proof of up-to-date vaccination as well. And I just want to add, I met with the director of fan engagement for Yale Athletics recently, and out of our 32 sports activities, 27 of them are not ticketed, and so they're free. And so there are a ton of opportunities for people to go out and enjoy games, both indoor and outdoor. So I encourage everyone to check that out throughout the academic year. Thanks.
Thanks so much. All right, anybody else? All right. So we've had some amendments to our schedule. Dr. Tracy and the superintendent's team were not able to make it. Look forward to a cool event next month. We're going to hear an update from New Spiral, who are going to do some mural work in Fairhaven and coming up Grand Ave. And then finally tonight, we have Barbara Vereen here, who's been doing a bunch of organizing in Newhallville, to talk about the APT foundations and the kind of grassroots, very impressive grassroots organizing that's been done with the Newhallville Hamden Forward Coalition. Barbara, you are on mute. You are muted.
I'm sorry about that. My name is Barbara Vereen. I'm the co-chair in Ward 20 and a part of the STOP apps in Newhallville, Hamden and Newhallville Stronger Together steering committee. As people may know, so I want to thank you guys for the, I'm here to ask for a letter of support. Let me start by saying that we want to ask for a letter of support. I'm here because we found out in the beginning of January, I think January 7th, through a New Haven Independent article, that the App Foundation had bought a building at 794 Dixwell Avenue. And what they never reached out to the community. They never talked to us. We reached out to them. We had a community meeting with them to ask them what was the purpose of them moving to Newhallville to our community while out having a conversation with us. We have a lot of concerns about the property and the App Foundation and concerns that what happened in other App locations, App Foundation locations around the city, mainly the one on Congress Avenue and the one on Long Wharf. We reached out to the town of Hamden to ask for their support. We're coming to the management team. We are not anti-treatment, but what we want is we do not want we don't think that is conducive to the neighborhood in the area in which they want to put the App Foundation is in a highly residential area with a bunch of elderly people. We have elderly complexes there, and most of the people that live in this area are elderly people who have retired and live on between Cherry Ann and Dorman Street, in which the areas which it would be affected. We asked the App Foundation what would they be doing in the building, They told us they will be doing 3 things. They'll be having a methadone clinic. They will also be having an office building and a outpatient, some outpatient services that they will be providing. We are very concerned, given the fact that this neighborhood is already an area that is traumatized, and we're trying to rebuild our neighborhood. We created block watches where we have a business corridor that's starting to thrive there. We're trying to bring back some wholesomeness to our neighborhood, and we think that is what the App Foundation will bring. Not the services, but what is the aftermath of those services, that the impact that it will have in our neighborhood. So we're reaching out to management teams and we're asking them for their support. We have, so I don't know if people have questions.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. While Barbara was speaking, I dropped some links both to the petition and to coverage in the Independent. So if you folks want to get the backstory there. Other than that, anybody have any questions? Answers, I see you came off mute.
I very much support the efforts of the New Hallville neighbors. I'm also very much not against treatment. I think that, we know that the rates of all kinds of substance abuse issues are somewhere between 15 and 20% of the population. So there isn't anyone that doesn't have friends or family that isn't affected by this gigantic public health crisis. But what I've observed over the years being in New Haven is that all of the treatment centers, they're quite different. Over the years, I've done a great deal of work in the Hill, and I've seen the impact of the App Foundation there. And in our own area in Ward 8, we actually have 2 methadone clinics, and there's a drug and alcohol treatment place downtown. And they're very different. We don't have the same impacts from the treatment centers that are in our area as the Hill and Long Wharf have with App Foundation. And I think it's because they're run very differently. So I'm very concerned about the impact that this could have on our New Hallville neighbors, and all of the amazingly good progress over really a quarter century of hard work with neighborhood housing services, the many community groups there. It's a time to try to solidify that. So I'm very supportive, and hope that other of our neighbors will be very supportive of New Hallville.
Thank you, Answers. Anybody else?
Can I just add a couple of things, Ian?
Absolutely.
Okay. One of the things we have done, we have canvassed our neighborhood. And I think that one of the things that people are saying is we, over the last 10 years, we did a lot of work to run the drug dealers out of our neighborhood. And people think that with the App Foundation coming, that we can start to see some of that like we see on Congress Avenue. And that's one of our biggest concerns with a bunch of, in our area where we have a bunch of elderly people, that the things that we're pushing really hard to change in our neighborhood, that environment will come back. The other thing we have done, and on the petition, thank you, Ian, for dropping it in the chat, is that we have collected over 1,000 signatures thus far, and we're trying to get to like 3,000 signatures. So I really hope that you take the petition, sign it, and pass it along. When they haven't submitted any formal paperwork to the city, to the zoning board or to city plan. But when they do, we want to be ready with our petition and present it to the board, and present it whenever they go to the state to do their if they have to do another certificate of need or transfer their license. So we have had press conference. We have done a lot of work on the ground. We have had meetings where we have over 200 people participating. We are canvassing on Saturday. If anybody will have anything, even if you have something to do and you don't have any around between the hours of 2 and 4, we'll be knocking on doors, getting people to sign the petition. So we are doing a lot of work to engage our community and get our community active.
Thank you. And it's amazing in a model of how to do community organizing and push, not just push back, but to build a neighborhood consensus and to say that this is what this neighborhood believes and wants is really.
The other thing, we have met with the mayor and we have asked the mayor to find an alternate location because we really do believe that people should get services, but we want people to get services and be successful, putting people in an area that when they walk out the door that they can be faced with the same things that they're trying to prevent is not helpful for their recovery.
Thank you. If there's no more discussion here, I'd entertain a motion to approve a letter of support. Answers?
Were you able to hear me? Yeah.
No, try it again.
Okay, that was the problem. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Motion to approve a letter of support of our new home.
I'll second the motion.
All right. Thank you. Any discussion? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Not voting, abstaining, none. All right. Well, you don't get to vote. All right. The motion's proved. We will send over a letter of support. Thank you so much for showing up tonight and letting us know the update.
Thank you so much. All right.
Absolutely. All right. That's it, folks. We have run out of our agenda. With that, I think it's time to close this meeting. Say so long. I'll see you guys, but not in this seat. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Miriam. Thank you so much.